Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 44. I am your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Galar's best Pokemon trainer, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, man?
Trying to be the best I can be.
You ready for Thanksgiving?
Yes, I am actually just ready to sit down and chill. I don't think we're going to do anything this year. We're not going to see family. It was too much last year. So,
Yeah.
Both of our families are out of state, so we're just going to sit back and chill.
See, that's nice. I've been off today. I took today off. And I'm off through the weekend, so I am really looking forward to getting some really nice gaming time in this weekend. And it's been nice today playing some Pokemon, a little Grim Dawn, doing a couple things around the house, but otherwise just vegetating. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, The Player's Take is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and your favorite podcast app of choice. Let's start like we always do with what we've been playing. I'll go first because I always let Montrell go first.
Yeah.
And as I said, so I've been playing some Grim Dawn. There was a new patch that dropped last week.
I was just about to ask you about that.
1.1.5 dropped, and this is probably going to be the final free content drop this game's ever going to see.
Okay.
I am guessing the devs are kind of done with this. They've not hinted at anything coming down the pipe after this beyond balance fixes and bug fixes. I think this game is going into its final stretch here. Where
how long has it been active, or how long has it been? When was it first released?
We're coming on 4 years in March.
Oh, wow.
The game's
okay.
been out.
Wow.
There's been 2 expansions since then, and then they've done free content releases between the expansions and after the latest expansion.
And this is like a regular team of maybe 30 now. I'm assuming they hired more people.
Nah, man. I think they're still pretty small.
Oh, wow.
I would be surprised if they have more than 20.
Wow, that's crazy.
And because, dude, I think Grim Dawn, they have 1 or 2 people working on it at this point. I think that's I think that's where they're at. I think they have multiple other projects in the works. They're doing a city builder as their that's probably going to be their next game, and they've talked that they are not ready to speak about it yet, but it is far into development.
Okay.
They just need to get their marketing in order, get a website for it and all that stuff, and make a trailer and things like that. So that was several months ago, and I imagine we're getting to the point where they're going to probably announce it early next year.
Is it going to be like a Sim City type deal, or
I don't know.
They haven't game?
Talked about it. It looks more like I wouldn't put it in the modern setting. It seems more, I don't know if it's medieval. I haven't really, all we've ever seen is a few screenshots, but it looks more like something like Age of Empires minus the RTS elements.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. I'll be interested to try it. Anything they make, I'm going to try probably. So, but I've been playing that. So that added a new roguelike dungeon and a brand new quest line that added about four dungeons, including the roguelike, and added about 25 new items. And then this patch was huge because they did a huge balancing pass on all the uniques in the game, as well as monster infrequents and affixes related to monster infrequents. So they said they made about 6,000 item changes in this update.
That's wild.
Most of them buffs.
That's insanely wild. For 15 people. That's
Dude,
crazy.
They've been working on this for months, probably since July, I'd say.
Okay.
So it's been about 4 months. I think this was in the works before that too. So they've done a really great job. They made some changes. There were some nerfs, of course, and they actually did hit me for once with a nerf. But I did get some buffs as well along with them, so it kind of balanced itself out. I have completed the content as of today, the new content. The roguelike, the boss in the roguelike was challenging at first, but once I understood his battle, there's parts where you really shouldn't be near him and shouldn't attack him, and then you kind of go back in and fight him.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't too bad. There's a bunch of new legendaries they added in this dungeon that only drop in this dungeon. It's pretty cool as well. So the game's itemization is very fleshed out at this point. This game is as close to complete as I think they're ever going to get it. The only thing I would really like to see before they move on permanently is maybe adding some feature that allows you to get monster infrequents more easily. Double rare monster infrequents, let me say. They are extremely rare. They don't drop. They drop maybe every 5 hours of gameplay, maybe even every 10 hours of gameplay. They're super rare, but they are the most powerful items in the game. But they're so hard to obtain that they're not realistic as a goal for the most part. So I would like to see them add something to the game that allows you to randomly obtain them or something like that. Maybe you get one and you can turn one affix into another or something like that. Kind of thing, like random roulette rolls or something like that.
Gotcha.
Make it expensive. Don't make it easy, but make it something where at least the player can, work towards it. Because the way it is now, they're not reasonable to obtain. They're just not. It's not a fun grind. And there's something though that unlock builds, like higher levels of builds than regular legendaries do.
Yeah.
And mixed in with legendaries, they can make builds extremely powerful, but I feel like they need to be something a player could reasonably obtain, which they're not right now, really. Okay. So that's the last thing I'd really like to see. I doubt we'll see it. They've been very staunch in their stance that they do not want to make Monster and Frequency easier to get, really, in any way. So I doubt they add it, but I feel like as a going away present for this game to kind of, push it into the end of its life.
Yeah.
Like that, it'd be a great thing to add. Move on. The game will be what it is, and there's no reason to just to me, there's no reason to leave it as it is, but we'll see what comes of that. Also played Luigi's Mansion 3. I beat it on Sunday.
So how'd you like the whole experience?
Okay, so I was very positive when I first talked about it a couple weeks ago. Still very positive about the game overall.
Okay.
I think it's very fun. I like it a lot. A lot of the floors are really cool in the game. But I will say the later I got into the game, the more I started to feel like this game was more like 2 than I wanted to admit, because it's kind of a cross between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The floors are self-contained for the most part. There is almost zero interaction between the floors after the second floor in the game. They're just their own level, and that's it. There's a boss at the end of every single floor. You beat the boss, you get the elevator button, and you move on to the next floor. And in that sense, the game is very much like 2.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like 2.
Yeah, and I the later I got into the game, the more it kind of frustrated me, I guess, because there could have been there's definitely some opportunity lost here to have more floor to floor interaction, where you go between floors and you have to do things between floors. You got to do things on one floor before something unlocks on like a lower floor or something like that.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it that way. It was very linear. After the 5th floor, every floor you did just gave you the button for the next floor. So 6 gave you the 7th level, 7 gave you the 8th level, 8 gave you the 9th level. There was no variation there, really.
Okay, yeah.
So I was a little disappointed on that front. I'll also say Luigi's arsenal of things he can do really isn't much more expanded than it was in 2. Beyond Guigi, he really has most of the same stuff he's had in the other 2 games.
Gotcha.
For the most part. And Guigi does change the way you do puzzles and traversal and stuff a little bit, and he's a good mechanic. I like that they added him. But they add something late in the game that you only use once, and it's like they present it to you, though, as a new move that you get, but you only get one opportunity to use it.
Yeah, I think Zelda Ocarina of Time did something like that.
Yeah, and I thought it was a little weird, and unfortunately, I'm assuming there are side places where you will use this move again, but I didn't find them. But in the main story, I never needed to use it again, and I thought that was a little disappointing as well. So I'm sitting around an 8 with the game. I think it's a very solid game. I think it's really good. It's definitely worth your time.
That's definitely not a bad score.
Right. I would wait though, probably until you can get it under $40. I think anything more than that, I think it's a little overpriced for me.
Okay.
My run time at the end of it was about 12 and a half hours, I think, is what my in-game clock said, what my playtime was. So it's not a long game by any stretch. I'll probably say my favorite floors were there was a floor that was a castle. That was a really cool floor. The very bottom floor, which is like an underground kind of pipe area where all like the plumbing and stuff is for the hotel. That was a very cool floor. They did some unique things there where you're kind of having to navigate through water and stuff.
Okay.
With your character or with Luigi. And then the other one is called Twisted Suites. I think it's the 9th floor. It's like a magic-themed floor where there's a lot of like magic tricks happening and stuff.
Okay.
That was a really cool floor. There's a point in there where you're like chasing some ghosts around, and the rooms, like the doors, don't take you to the room they're supposed to take you to. They like mix them all up.
Oh, okay.
And it was an interesting thing. It was an interesting puzzle you had to figure out, like kind of how to get to your destination.
Yeah.
So there was some cool stuff in there as well. There are a few floors, unfortunately, that are literally just boss rooms. There's nothing else to them really.
Okay.
You walk in, fight a boss, and walk out. That's pretty much how it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
it sounds like a mission from Luigi's Mansion 2.
Right, and so the fact that there was a boss on every floor was kind of annoying after a while. There are, I think, 17 or 18 bosses in this game.
Are they all unique bosses?
They are all unique bosses.
Okay.
Yes, they all have different mechanics and different ways of beating them, which is cool. But some of the fights are better than others, of course. When you get to that many, that's obvious.
Yeah.
Some of them are really obtuse, and the game does not do a very good job of showing you what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately. So, but I think overall the bosses are pretty good. I just don't think they needed to have a boss on every floor.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little unnecessary.
It sounds 17 bosses sound like a lot.
It is a lot.
That's very old school. Like, it's an old
yes.
school game type feel. Yeah.
Yes. So, worth playing. The side stuff with the gems, finding the gems and the booze, pretty cool for the most part. Nothing too in-depth, though. So you're not going to get much more runtime out of this game than I did. I would say you, at most, will get 20 hours, probably, if you do everything.
Well, it sounds like a nice little single-player game to, fill out some time.
It is, yeah. It's a good handheld game, too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It plays very well in short bursts. You can get a floor done in less than an hour, usually. So it's pretty good in that sense. So I would recommend it. When we start talking about Game of the Year, I don't know where it's going to fall, but right now I'd say it's probably at the bottom of my list.
Okay.
In terms of the better games that I've played.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like a lot of better games out there right now.
Right. If I made a list of 5, this would be the 5th game.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Or if I made a list of 7, this would probably be the 6th or 7th game.
All right.
So, but very good game. Recommend it for sure. What have you been playing?
I've been playing League of Legends. They shook the meta. Like I said, they shook the meta up a lot.
This happened in Dota today too.
Yeah. I actually put that on there and I deleted it, but. Both games did something weird with their jungling. It looks like, from what I read from Dota, a lot of people were tweeting about Dota that I didn't even know played Dota on my timeline. I guess they added a lot of items and changed some stuff in the beginning of the first 15 minutes of the game. First 15, 20 minutes.
They added 2 new heroes too, and they increased the level cap.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
To 30 within games.
Okay.
That's a huge change.
Yeah.
Like, completely changes the end game.
That's actually pretty nuts.
I don't even know how it works, though. Like, what do they do? They add new ability levels? Did they add more talents or something? Because the way the game works now, I can't even wrap my head around what they would do with that.
Yeah.
So I almost want to. I really kind of want to check it out, though. Like,
yeah, they said that it's almost like you have a dedicated jungler now. Like,
in Dota?
Yeah, like the items they're called neutral items, I think, and they give you some perks where. Someone's going to have to be jungling the first 10, 20 minutes to get the full benefits for a team. And then they can go back and support their laners.
That's cool. Yeah. I kind of like that, though. I kind of like that because there was always this weird... So I've told you the structure of Dota before, where you have your 3 cores, and each one of them takes a lane, basically.
Yep.
And then you'll have 2 supports that usually... Both of them support the safe laner, who is your primary farmer. They're your number 1 position, and they're the ones who you want to get super powerful and get all the items. Or you have one of them support that laner, and then you'll have the other one roam around the map and try to create gank opportunities.
Yeah.
They're really usually... The jungler in there would be that 5th person a lot of the time who would be... that roaming support, but it's weird. Those characters are generally carries. They're not support characters most of the time, most of them. So it was kind of an awkward position, jungler in Dota's meta. So I'm gonna be curious to see how it works.
Yeah, so a lot of people are saying, a lot of pros are saying like jungling is a dedicated position now. It's back, but I mean it's still in its infancy stage, so we don't know how everything's gonna go. Same thing with like League of Legends. So League of Legends has been having a really shake up with their jungle, where it's a weird thing. So last season you had the spam gank, like you can spam gank and you will not get punished for spam ganking. If your other jungler was farming, you know, he will actually be at a disadvantage for not spam ganking.
Wow.
In this game, or in this meta now, they significantly lower XP and there's no XP catch up. Yeah, so
wait, XP catch up?
Yeah.
So if the one team was behind on experience, they would get more?
Well, the jungler will.
Oh.
The jungler would. So he would get some catch up XP to catch up with the rest of the team and kind of balance itself out.
I see.
Because he does a lot. You know, jungler in that game, they are the opportunity makers within the entire game. They control the shift of how everything runs. So you still do that, but I'm noticing I'm still stuck in season 9, whereas in season 10, like I have to adjust, and a lot of people are having issues adjusting as well, and I am one of those people too, because you can't just gank, you can't farm. You have a farm path and you gank. Now it's like farming is your fundamental thing as a jungler. It's more 1v1 interactions with the jungler. They powered up the dragons, so usually the jungler takes the dragons, so you have to control the objectives on the map for later games, because those really impact the game.
Yeah.
But you're always 1 or 2 levels behind your laner. That's how much the XP has been nerfed for us.
Okay.
So if you mess up as a jungler, you are going to be
severely
punished. You're going to be severely underleveled. At one point, I fucked up. I died like once early game, and I was behind the entire game, like 3 levels behind everyone.
Wow.
It's very punishing. A lot of people aren't used to this.
Yeah, it sounds a little too harsh, though.
Yeah.
I think for like casual play.
Yeah,
like,
that's what a lot of people are saying.
They pushed it too far.
Yeah, because jungling was one of the more powerful roles in the game. Now it's become like a really support role. You have to. It depends on the champion you pick. Like if you want to pick a champion that does good supporting people, you have to play that support role and farm.
Right.
If you want to pick a carry champion, you have to be really good at. He has to be early game, powerful, and does his thing. So I just think the meta shakeup is really cool. I like how when the third dragon spawns on the map, and it changes the map completely. So I think that's really cool. They added some little sidebars to the lanes.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an extra lane type deal. So they add some shakeup.
Man,
so
these games are.
Yeah, these games evolve, man.
These games are so good, man.
Yeah.
It's just. Like I just
little
look at
stuff like that,
right, dude? I just look at like Blizzard with Overwatch, and the idea that they wanted to try to ape the same model, and how they're not even close, clearly, because this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You keep the game changing. You change the game so people stay engaged. If the core game stays the same forever, people are gonna eventually move on.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's hard because you have to be dedicated as a player to keep up, but
see, the thing
that's what the communities for these games are, though.
But see, the thing is, the game is the same. It's the same map. It's just everything.
The mechanics are the same. The strategy's different now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what pulls a lot of people towards these MOBAs, because same characters, same map. The core is the same, but how you do things now is differently. So just adding one little sidebar that, to any other game may not make that much of a difference, but it makes a huge difference in these games.
Yeah.
Up in the level cap and things of that nature. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Another game I've been playing is Sekiro, and man, am I having fun with this game.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw some of your tweets, man.
Yeah, man. I've been getting pissed, but it's like it's my fault when I die. Like,
it's a good piss, though.
Yeah, it's a good piss. And you can definitely tell, like, From Software knows how to make these games. These are games that you can't just poop out. Like, not saying that Jedi was like that, but you have to quality test. You have to test this game, because I remember there were like 3 beta tests for Sekiro.
Well, not to rehash our discussion from last week too much, but I get what you're saying exactly. Where sometimes in Fallen Order, your deaths they feel like the game's fault, where the game is not being fair to you. Whereas in Sekiro, I know exactly what you're talking about. The game is so precise and well controlled and polished to a T that if you screw up, it's because you screwed up.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
because the game is being mean to you or unfair to you. You got yourself in a position where you died. You know?
So I mean, that's not too many negative points I have in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple frame drops here and there.
Do you think I would like it?
Yes, it's more of an adventure game than a Dark Souls game.
Okay.
It has Dark Souls elements, but it's a good mix between both.
Does it play like Fallen Order, the way people have been comparing it, I guess?
Yes, and no. There's a parry bar, but their parry bar works a little bit differently than obviously Fallen Order. Mm-hmm. It's way more precise.
Okay.
Yeah. Only thing I had an issue with was the color palettes of the game. Sometimes things tend to like blend in with each other, but that's just the color palette of all Soulsborne games at this point.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think the game's really good.
What about character progression? Is it more like is it like Dark Souls or?
So it's a mix between Fallen Order and Dark Souls. You
really?
Get skill points.
Okay.
But it's not in a tradition. It is in a traditional way, but you don't lose them when you die. So you don't lose all of them when you die.
This sounds like Neo.
Yeah, you don't lose all of them.
So you have skill trees related to your weapon, or
to
is
your
it just
character?
Just general character.
General character.
Does that unlock new moves and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like Neo. And then you have your general experience that you pump into statistics, I assume.
Well, not necessarily. There isn't any statistics.
Okay, so
all
that
you
is
have
different.
Is a health bar.
Okay.
And
so there's no like agility.
No, there's
vitality.
no agility stat. No, there's only thing there's a stat of is attack power. That's it. That's the only stat that's in there.
Okay.
This is a straight action game, but still in the style of like almost RPG. If that makes any sense.
That's interesting. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very different for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is the general compass for Jedi Fallen Order. Like they followed
these kind of games.
Yeah.
These kind of games. This is. You can wrap an RPG around this if you want, but you don't necessarily have to.
Exactly, yeah.
So do you think this is the model for action games going forward?
I think so.
The way that these games are being made? Because Neo is distinctly different from Souls and my understanding of Sekiro, but it's very similar in its stylings and its precision.
Yeah.
That it's like these games, I think they like action games need to be this precise.
Yeah, to me they're going back, and Neo sounds more like Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
As far as precision and stuff of that nature.
Yep.
And I think these games are going back to that because remember in the older generations, at the first half of that generation, we did have a lot of action games that are more precise and things of that nature. Then they kind of fell off as things starting to get more standardized, like first person shooters and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I'm glad these games are making a comeback.
Right. I'm really happy that From Software exists
in
the games they make because I feel like they have taught other developers how to do action. Like
they taught them the concept of basic game design. Like
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like the fundamentals are in their games. The foundation of an action game. They know how to do it so well. Like it's about fairness, but it can still be hard with that. It's like. The game needs to be precise. It has to control well. You can't have situations where your player doesn't understand why they died. That's the kind of thing I think a lot of these games that aren't as good fall into sometimes, where they're trying to be hard, but they don't give the player a fair playing field.
Yeah, I think my last point. I think I said it last week. I don't know if I said it on the podcast or off. But I think the reason why Sekiro doesn't have level or game difficulties to adjust the parry windows is because they need to be precise. They need to be precise with that parry window they have. If you're constantly adjusting it for different difficulties, then that can
breaks the game's flow.
Exactly.
And the balance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's look. I understand where they're coming from, and this argument that was surrounding Sekiro was very asinine to me for the most part.
It was.
It's not about inclusivity or exclusivity. It's not about excluding a group of people or including everybody. It's about the game designers trying to balance a game around their system.
This game is very parry focused.
Right.
It's very parry
well,
heavy.
in the standards they have of precision and balance, they're up to such a high level that it's probably not easy for them to create other difficulties.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I agree with that.
To make the game easier is not as simple as just lowering enemy health and upping your damage or lowering the damage they do. Like it's not that simple for them. They would have to redesign big portions of the game, I think, to satisfy themselves.
Yeah.
So
because I mean, I watched someone do the story playthrough of Jedi Fallen Order, just the story mode, and it was like really easy. But it was okay for people who just wanted to enjoy the story. But we got into the issue of like, parry windows and things of that nature, and for someone like me who wants to play a really good game, a really challenging game, and enjoy the story, it's hard to create that balance. And I think Jedi was trying to be that game to accommodate for everyone. And we have a whole ton of different reviews on the game, a ton of different viewpoints. So when Sekiro came out, and I even say Zelda, for instance. Zelda's another example of that. Breath of the Wild, where it doesn't have a difficulty mode. It just depends on how you play the game.
Right.
Sekiro is not as flexible as that is Breath of the Wild, but you have to learn how to play the game. I just think this game would be flawed if it did have easy mode. It would just be insanely too easy, or it just wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel like the game that it's trying to make.
Also, does this game have a riveting story?
It's not like a super engaged story, but it's more engaged than most of their Dark Souls and Bloodborne games.
Okay, but their focus has never been story. And
exactly.
There's a difference between Jedi Fallen Order having an easy mode so people can experience the story.
Exactly.
And a game like Sekiro having easy mode that serves no purpose, because what is the purpose of playing a game through easy mode that doesn't have a riveting story? Like,
exactly. Their whole
you're not
focus
getting
is
anything
the
out of
game.
it. Yeah, the game is the focus. Like, the gameplay is the focus. So what are you getting out of the easy mode in this situation?
Yeah.
So I get it from their perspective. I still would love to see them do it so people can, so we can just have everybody be happy.
Yeah.
I would love to see them do it. I hope they can pull it off in one of their next games, but it just doesn't feel necessary. I think the community is like these guys, the developers here, are completely separated from this discussion, in my opinion. They've never really commented on it. And I think this is just a community-built discussion that is like, it's gotten so nasty for no real reason,
Yeah, we included a lot of unnecessary things like accessibility, disabilities and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that was very honest for the argument on both sides.
Yeah.
I really didn't like that. I really didn't like people bringing that up. And I just thought it was very egregious and dishonest on both sides. Like I said before, I don't know why I just repeated that, but I really wanted to lay that point down. It is a community thing, because we do this thing where there's elitism in video games to where, like, I played Dark Souls, so I'm just the elite gamer. And, you didn't play these games and stuff like that. But then, looking at other, and I would say to a degree I was that person. I dead ass was that person. But looking at the degree to where I saw other people enjoy video games like, Zelda, and they're like, man, I love how simple it is, but I love how hard it is at the same time. And that taught me that there can be a balance in gaming to where both parties can be satisfied. Yep. And like you said, not everyone needs to be included in every game. Not every game is for me. Not every game's for you.
Right.
We have different aspects of video games that we like. So I think people just need to realize that, and I think the community needs to realize that it's okay to have a niche genre that you like. You don't have to be included in everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Last game we've both been playing.
Speaking of being included in everything,
Pokemon Sword and Shield. You have Sword, I have Shield. Well, I guess we played at about a similar time frame, right? You said about 9 hours.
8 to 10 hours into it.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same place, but we're in different parts of the game's story. What do you think so far?
So, I am
Can I just say, I am personally going to eat all the crow that I need to eat on this game.
Okay.
I like it.
No, I like it too.
Yeah,
I like it. Like,
I've talked a lot of shit.
I talked a lot of shit about it,
but I like it,
and I like it for what it is. It's a Pokemon game. I like it for what the fuck it is. When I played it, it has a lot of charm to it.
Right.
But that quickly goes out the window 4 hours, maybe 3 hours to the game for me.
Okay.
I play the game and I love the Pokemon camp. I love it. Like it is like very fun to play.
Cool.
Yeah,
I like it a lot
it.
actually. The little cooking mini game. I think it's pretty interesting.
That shit. I love the Pokemon. Like because each Pokemon, the way they just walk around, they smile at you or something like that.
You can play with them.
You can play with them. And they talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see Pokemon have actual personality. Yep. Like that's so like the opening. I wish they did this a lot more in the game. When you choose your first 3 Pokemon and they have that little cutscene where they're like playing with each other and they all have their distinct personalities.
Yep.
Like I thought that was really cool. Like I could imagine like you know Charmander, Squirtle, and fucking Bulbasaur playing or Cyndaquil,
Totodile
and Chikorita.
Chikorita,
yeah. Right. Playing.
Love Gen 2.
Yeah, Gen 2 was the best. But and they all have their own distinct personalities and things of that nature. I thought that was just so cool because I was like genuinely taken back when I saw that. I was like, man, these Pokemon are really fucking cool. Mm-hmm. These are probably some of the best starters I've had since.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, like these are some really good ass starters.
These are my favorite starters since Gen 2.
Yes.
I think.
And then another thing, the guy they hired to do the design for the Pokemon, he fucking knocked it out the park. Mm-hmm. They are so different from other generations that I wish, honestly, like they would just go for it with this.
Right.
I am for them swapping. Maybe they're gonna swap in and out Pokemon.
Yeah.
For like the national decks, I'm all for that. As long as we get good designs like we got for this generation, Sword and Shield designs are fucking awesome. And the Pokemon they chose to include kind of fits the world.
It does. No, they picked Pokemon specifically that fit the Galar region, this English, Scottish region.
And I think that's more realistic because you're not going to find every Pokemon or every animal in every region.
Right.
Like, it's just not.
I don't think that's what people are asking, though. That's never been the way these games ever have worked. They've always had a subset that is catchable within the game.
But
you've always been able to transfer ones from other games.
I
think that's where the problem lies for mobile.
Yeah.
But I'll get into that more later. That discussion relates to gameplay for me, in a way that I've been enjoying the game. So
okay.
Yeah. So in terms of the starters, I think I really like Gen 4 as well, but I think these starters have really distinct looks to them.
Yeah.
And I like them a lot. We both picked Score Bunny, I believe, right?
Yeah, I picked Score Bunny. Yeah.
But I've seen the final evolutions for the other two, and they're both really cool looking.
Yeah.
I like them a lot, and they're also the first time since Gen 1 that they've been pure. They're their pure element type.
Yep.
The whole way. They don't change. They're all fire, grass, water, all the way through the final evolution. And obviously, yes, I know Charizard's flying fire, but he wasn't in first gen when the game was out.
Exactly.
So, so that's cool. I really like that. And what do you think of the story as it's presented so far?
All right, so the good story. I just think it's bad storytelling.
Okay.
So
I'm probably not far enough to know what you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good story. I like where they're going with the story. I like the whole the whole atmosphere of this region feels really cool. Yep. I like how Pokemon battles are a big spectacle event.
Yep. I love it. It's like a sport.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah, I love it. It's really cool. I really like the cuz you didn't get this far cuz you didn't get your first gym badge yet, but you get gym challenges. You have to do different challenges before you can go and fight the gym leader.
Yep.
So I really like that. From what I thought from the first part of the game, that the whole game was going to be like this. And I thought we were going to have scheduled events, but it's just like for the first part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was going to be cool. Like, oh, man, it's like a scheduled event. So I get
because they tell you, it's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just it's a railroaded story segment.
Yeah. So if they would have went along with that, that would have been really cool.
Maybe the thing is,
I think they want to.
Yeah, they've done it before, right? They did it in gold and silver.
Yeah.
So I think it's something we could reasonably expect for the next game.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
I think people will complain to them about time gating. Like, oh, you're just time gating the game to make it better. Or to make it longer, to make it seem longer.
Yeah.
But I think it really fits in the world of Pokemon, because sometimes when I'm just playing the game, I'm just like, how they get this big ass crowd in like 2 hours, or like an hour,
right.
you know, like they just sit there.
How did I run from my hometown to the second town to get to the thing in the day? Like less than a day.
Yeah.
Like the time is weird sometimes in these games.
I did take a step into the wild area. I have a love.
Well, they force you into it early.
Yeah,
and I think that is a really cool design choice.
Yes, yeah.
Because that area is really dangerous.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's, dude, you're going to run in there. You're going to find fully evolved Pokemon that you can't even touch. You're going to find level 30 Pokemon immediately out of the gate, which is something that these games never do that for the most part. And I really like that.
I really love that. That's more Xenoblade-ish to me.
Yes. Monolith Softs, their influence is felt everywhere.
Yeah. Only downside is so far the outside areas outside of the grasslands have been very
limited.
Yeah,
they're linear for the most part.
Yeah,
very small. The routes are tiny, dude. It's like it takes like 5 minutes to walk through them. I
think they put so much time and effort into the wild area and the Pokemon camp.
Yep.
That they kind of left everything else.
Yeah, so that's the discussion I think we need to have about this game. It is clear they cut a lot of corners, and there are a lot of places where they just did not have time to do everything they wanted to do, I think. And the routes being one of them. Obviously, the number of Pokemon in the game and the national dex being another.
I don't think that's a big deal. I'm on the fence of that. I'm cool with them swapping in and out Pokemon as long as I get a quality experience. But I'll get back to that later.
Okay.
I'll let you finish your point. I'm sorry.
There's that. The animations. There are some really bad animations in this game.
Yes.
Like Tail Whip is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I think the double kick
is bad. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like, dude, it's such a weird game because, dude, the starters have amazing animations. Like their moves, their movesets, like every single move they do, they have a specific animation for that no other Pokemon has for the most part, and it's really awesome. It makes you feel really engaged in the battles.
Yeah, so that's like my first octet is the lack of expression throughout the game.
Yeah.
Nintendo traditionally throughout all their IPs have had a very, very good rapport of expressing emotions or expression through their games. From simple games down to Mario, all the way down to like Zelda and fucking Metroid. This game, when I say good story, bad storytelling, there's a lot of points in the game I'm just pressing A.
Right.
I'm pressing A.
Right.
I've gotten to the point now where I'm having my girlfriend read some of the text because she can do a really good British accent, and I'm like just reading like a UK British accent. I really want to experience the story, and she like reads some of the text for me in British accents or whatever. But I think the story would have suffered or would have had a lot more as far outside the battles. Like the trainers, they'd be a lot more expressive. Like I really like Nessa. I really like your first gym leader that you fought, the bug guy.
Milo, yeah.
I really think that would have been cool because these characters are cool. Like I think your rival's really cool, even though he sucks as a trainer. I think his character building is really fucking cool.
Yep.
Everything is cool. It's just that there needs to be more expression throughout the game. Like they can't be doing the same animations the whole time and expect me to be like engaged in the story.
So there's a character that so there's one cool thing about this game. We were talking about this off mic, but the idea that you have more than one rival in the game.
Yeah.
They've done this before, but in this game it seems like there's more than because there's the main one, there's Hop, who's your friend from the main town. He picks one of the other starters with you. There's I don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
It's a girl.
It's a girl? Yeah. Okay, yeah, Beatty. She's basically another rival for you, so far that I've seen throughout the game. It seems like you fight her multiple times. There's a third girl, too, with the Team Shout, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, Team Yell.
Yeah, Team Yell. She's a
gym leader, I believe.
Oh, she is?
I believe she's a gym leader. Okay. I'm not sure. I believe from the text I was reading that she might be a gym leader. I'm not too sure yet.
Okay, so but there's some recurring characters though from early in the game, which I find really cool. I like that. I'm glad they did that. I also do like that some characters you don't fight are kind of recurring, like Sonya and Leon are kind of with you along the journey. It is a little weird that Leon's kind of following you guys for some reason, but
I
find that weird. But
I thought that was weird, but then I thought about him like he's like watching his little brother and his little brother's friend. And
he's trying to make sure nothing bad happens to him.
Yeah, they kind of grew up with each other in that town, so
I understand.
I'll kind of do the same thing, even though like it's not pretty much my family. Like you are pretty much his family because he probably watched you guys grow up with each other.
Well, from this perspective too, he's also watching the other gym challengers.
Yeah, exactly.
Scoping out people that might be able to challenge him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's very much about I've never lost a battle or whatever, kind of thing. So he's like, I think he's hyper competitive too. So I think it's part of that too. We don't actually see him doing that, but I assume that's probably happening in the background when we're not watching him. So
that's what I mean by a lack of expression. Like I feel like this game would very much benefit. There's no reason because they have a whole bunch of money for them to do voice acting. I feel like this would have been a really cool game to voice act.
Gotta be an expectation soon.
At this point, it has to be because they could use the same people that Monolith hire for this world.
Right.
Like it would have been the voice acting, the voice character, or the voice actors and actresses they hired for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would have fit perfectly for this game.
They would have. Yep. I also think your character shouldn't be just like some player surrogate anymore.
Yeah. I think
kind of
should have
over
some
it.
kind of urgency to them.
I'm kind of over it because I mean you do talk like you don't talk in dialogue, but people ask you questions and you have to give an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be nice if your character actually was a character.
If it was like more Mass Effect-ish or something like that,
right?
Or something like that.
Right.
Not all the way to that extent, but
but it doesn't need to be a player surrogate so hardcore anymore.
Yeah. So I mean. I guess it's like what I'm expecting from I put on here lack of evolution when compared to other Nintendo IPs.
Yeah.
All the other Nintendo IPs evolved in some kind of way. It just felt like Pokemon is stagnant.
Okay.
They added some gimmick stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But as far as like actual core stuff,
changes.
Yeah, they didn't evolve. And even when compared to their own franchise, like Pokemon Go, their battle mechanics are really intuitive and what they can do.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon Stadium, we were talking about their not the lack of expression, but the very expressive of Pokemon when they did each move. I mean, some moves were like kind of like shoehorned in, but each Pokemon when they got hit, you felt the hit. When they die, you felt the die, or when they fainted, rather.
Well, dude, so this goes back to the inconsistency in animations that I was talking about. This happens with, like, I fought a Pikachu earlier, and it has the full Pikachu voice actor sound effects, where it's like Pika Pika and like Pika when it falls, like when it faints or whatever. It's like, it's like stark though. It stands out in a bad way. Where it's like it's so high quality compared to everything else around it. No other Pokemon has that. Eevee might, but from like Let's Go, but otherwise probably most of the other Pokemon don't really have that level of effort put into them.
Yeah.
So it's like it like makes the rest of the game look bad because like going back to animations, I was talking about the starters, a lot of the other Pokemon just feel like they get screwed.
Yeah.
Because their animations are stock. They're not specific to them in any real way.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
They're just like wiggling a little bit in an awkward way, like a 3D model just kind of like sliding on the ground sometimes, and it doesn't look refined and polished, and that's something I think like that is a legitimate criticism of this game, that it takes you out of the experience with how much of a spectacle it is within the world. The game itself should be that much of a spectacle.
Yes.
In my opinion. It should reflect in me playing the game.
I shouldn't have to go to the Pokemon camp to understand their emotions.
Right.
I shouldn't have to. For Pokemon I see other trainers battle with.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel that expression through the battles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Another thing I don't like, which I think is cool, you see the trainers call the attack. Like, I thought that was cool, but you don't see your trainer do it. Like, I don't think that's cool. Like, you're just behind the screen. Like, I want to see myself call the attack.
That's my point about the player surrogate stuff. Like, they don't take your character seriously for the most part. It's like, I don't know. It's little things like that.
Because the trainers are very expressive. Like,
they are, yeah.
All of them have unique personalities. Even though they're a lot of cookie cutters, each one I found feels like they're their own distinct person. Like from, even though I fought Karate Dan down the street, Karate Bob feels a little bit different from the way the text speaks and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just feels, I can't really describe it, but it's just I feel like Pokemon can have a really, really good quality experience just from the lack of, and animations. We can forget graphics and everything of that nature. I mean, yeah, the textures.
The game looks good, actually. I think for the most part. I mean, for what it is, I don't need Pokemon to look like.
I don't either. I don't
need to look like God of War. Like
I just think the art style needs to be fleshed out.
See, that's where I disagree. I don't think so. I think it's fine as it is. I think this game, like it all these jokes about like Pokemon Breath of the Wild or whatever that people have been making, and it's like honestly, dude, the wild area pretty much is your peek into what that would be. Like
it just looks, the textures look so bad.
It does,
though.
and the character like pathing is really
well. That's what I mean. Like with stylized choices, I feel like they can keep the same style of Pokemon what it is, but they can make some more improvements to the texture where it doesn't look that bad. It may look that bad from a.
Are you saying it looks too smooth?
Yeah,
like everything's like clean and smooth looking.
Yeah, like
I guess you're right, and it's really
it can
bright.
look more cartoony-ish.
Yeah.
Where they don't have to sacrifice.
Are you saying like almost cell shaded?
Almost, because like Breath of the Wild is kind of cel-shaded.
It is, yeah, it is.
And
it is.
I feel like that's what people want it to go. They don't want like Unreal 4 3D graphics. Like we don't want that.
Pokemon bleeding out after like you do like a horn attack and
exactly.
impale Pikachu or something.
Exactly. I don't think we want that. I think what people are saying is the more stylized choice. Like people want more of a personality within the environment.
So you think it looks kind of stale?
Yes, I don't.
I can see that. I think from a pure like look standpoint, the game looks fine. It's not. It doesn't look bad.
It doesn't look like it doesn't look like a PS1 game.
It's just not distinct.
Yeah.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
It's lacking personality within its graphics. Like now, other people may be like, "Oh, look at that texture. It's terrible." I'm looking at like they could have did a better job stylizing it to making it blend in more with the game, to where I don't even notice that because it's so stylized within the game.
Well, I think it goes to the way the tone they try to set with these games. Everything is so happy and positive most of the time that it's like they want the game's look to reflect that. I feel like
you can do that with like that Zelda Wind. I can take Wind Waker for example, right? The Wind Waker wasn't the best graphical thing, but we didn't notice that because the style of the game looks so good. Like water, it wasn't like realistic water. It looked like cartoon comic water, and it flowed well with the game.
Which this game has realistic looking water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they just take a better turn as far as their art direction, as far as the environment, I feel like the game's very anime. Embrace that anime. Make everything anime looking.
Okay.
You can still keep it 3D though. And that's pretty much what I had for like. I feel like the cutscenes that they did do at the beginning, that should have been throughout the entire game. Like I wanted my characters to have a lot more expression throughout the game. I think the combat, I can care less about them changing the combat.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get off that hill too because I don't playing the game like I think if everything else was like top notch, like the animations, the sound effects, all that stuff, the art direction, like you're talking about. I think all that stuff. If all that stuff was better. The combat's fine.
Yes, the combat
maybe
is
some
fine.
more mechanical changes in certain things, like maybe letting your Pokemon learn more than 4 moves at a time. Yeah. I'd like to see that kind of stuff maybe.
Now, they do have a guy in the Pokemon Center that can retrieve old moves. I
love that.
Yeah.
So let's get into this part of the game, the convenience factors of certain things.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I absolutely love that used to be really hard, and they've made it easy now. It's in every single city. There's a guy that you can remember old moves. You can forget a move you know now.
Yep.
Like this changes the game in a way that like you don't have to worry about when your Pokemon levels up and learns a move. You don't have to worry about that decision very much.
Exactly.
Because you can just go back and change it to a different move if you want. And another thing this changes is for certain Pokemon, like Growlithe as an example, where he needs a Firestone in order to evolve into Arcanine.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the way this worked was you needed to learn all the moves Growlithe learned before you evolved him into Arcanine so that he would have moves, because Arcanine would never learn any moves. A lot of Pokemon work that way.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like they learn moves, but it was like very scattered out.
Some of them do, and if they do learn them, it's really late, like in the 90s, like it's super late.
Yeah.
Whereas Growlithe would learn it in like the 30s.
Yeah.
You know, it was something like that. They made it really inconvenient. So they've changed this one feature has changed that now, where it seems like Growlithe, when you evolve him into Arcanine, Arcanine can learn any move that Growlithe could learn as long as you're at the level Growlithe would learn it at.
Ah, gotcha.
So you don't have to wait to evolve your Growlithe anymore. You can just evolve it immediately. It's an Arcanine, and that's it. And you just go from there.
Now that's very convenient.
And that changes certain Pokemon, too, because now Arcanine's power curve is higher because he's going to be Arcanine longer, so he's going to have his stat growth.
His stat growth is going to be
for a longer
better.
period of time. So that's changing the game in that way, too. Certain Pokemon are a lot more viable, I think, in competitive probably because of that. So I really like that change for one. And another thing I really like, they did this in Let's Go, but they've brought it into this game, is the fact that you can access your box anywhere.
Yes.
This is a huge change that I am so happy they did this. I think a lot of Pokemon sticklers were upset about this. Get over it, dude. Nobody. I'm sorry, you probably don't even like this, and you're just complaining to complain, because this is the fact that you had to go to a Pokemon Center, talk to the box, open the box, move the Pokemon. It's so time-consuming and annoying. Now it's so fluid, dude. You can do it in seconds. It's amazing. You can swap people in and out. And this relates to another feature that I was not happy about, the EXP share. I'm totally on board with it now.
Oh, because you saw that only certain Pokemon get a certain amount of XP.
There's that. So the Pokemon you use to battle with is the one that gets the most experience.
Yeah.
And then the rest kind of get like half EXP. Or something like that. So your team does level faster than they would normally. I'm already like level 20 before the first gym with like all my Pokemon. This is the first Pokemon game where the gym badge level thresholds actually matter, where your Pokemon stop listening to you after a certain level.
Did they stop listening to you?
I'm almost there. 20 is the initial level cap. So this is the first Pokemon game where that's actually mattered for me. But the thing I want to talk about with this is this combined with the box feature changes the way I play Pokemon, because I am not going to play this game with a 6-person team. I'm going to have a 6-person team with 20 other Pokemon in my box that I swap in and out.
Yeah.
And I'm already doing it. Like this is an amazing change that changes Pokemon in such a core way for me, where I can realistically level 20 or 25 Pokemon as I'm playing the game, and it's like my team is now huge. I have this huge, giant group of Pokemon that I can pick from, and it's amazing. Like, this is awesome. This is a great change.
Yeah, and I think it was too much for me to expect it from this game, because I was kind of harsh on it before. But I think the next game, with that change that you're talking about now, this will give you the opportunity to start us in different areas. I don't have to start the same town that you started in.
That'd be cool. Yeah, well, related to this, so this is something I want to talk to you about, because I was talking to you before I got the game. I was just going to pick a starter and go.
Yeah.
And not get the other starters. Well, so I spent a couple hours in the surprise trade, doing the surprise trade. Have you done this at all?
No, I haven't done it yet.
So I spent a couple hours doing the surprise trade earlier today, and I have gotten 2 Score Bunnies, 4 Grookies, a Sobel. I got the dragon Pokemon for this game, Dreepy, I think is the name.
Oh, the Dragon Ghost one?
Yes, I've gotten multiple copies of that one, and I have a nature that I like. I got Litwick, which is the Chandelure fire ghost Pokemon from Gen 5.
Oh, okay.
Really like that Pokemon. I got that one. I got what else did I get? Oh my god. I got some really good Pokemon from these trades. I got one that had a hidden ability. It's called a Corona or something like that. It looks like a God, I don't know how to say it. I think it was a Gen 2 Pokemon or a Gen 3 Pokemon. I can't remember. I think it is just called Corona, and it kind of looks like a Clefairy almost, but I think it's the Alolan version that has like kind of like watery reef things coming off of it.
Okay.
But it has a hidden ability called Cursed Body. And somebody traded that to me in the surprise trade. And this ability does not allow your opponent to use the same move twice in a row. It's so OP. And the nature it has is also the best nature this Pokemon can get. And I got that in the surprise trade. Just doing this for a couple hours today.
I haven't done that yet.
Dude, you need to do this, because if you want the other starters, this is how you get them.
Okay.
For one. Because as I said, I got a shitload, and honestly, I have so many Grookies, I can just give you one. Like, if you have something, if you have a Pokemon like interesting to trade me that I'm interested in, I'll take it. But like, if you don't, it's fine. Like, because dude, like, I don't need 4 Grookies, you know.
Yeah.
And they actually have good natures, so for the most part. So it's worth your time to do this, I think. And this relates back to the national decks for me, because this is where it's unfortunate, because you would already be able to get Pokemon that you aren't able to catch in this game through the surprise trade if all the Pokemon were in the game. And this is where it's sad, because there's such a limited number of Pokemon. Obviously, it's not going to hurt me on this playthrough with this game. There's plenty of Pokemon. I already have a team that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
That I have a ton of Pokemon to choose from. It's not going to hurt me in this playthrough. But when I do another one in the future, if I ever do, I kind of want to do one of those breed crazy ones where you get perfect IVs and like do perfect natures and all that stuff.
You're going the Andy route,
right? Yeah, I know. Andy's already talked about him. He's already like perfect IVing.
Yeah, he's already maxed out.
Right. If I ever want to do that in the future, the limited like decks, Pokédex is it's just gonna limit the pool of Pokemon I can choose from, and that's disappointing.
Yeah.
For me. So that's really unfortunate, and I think it's just something we're gonna have to deal with going forward for now. I think as we play these games, the next game is going to have more Pokemon available because they're going to use the same engine, I assume.
Well, that's the thing I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that they did so well with this game that they're not really going to improve it. Yeah. Like, a lot of people bought this game. Now, this game has re-sparked my interest in Pokemon.
This is the best Pokemon since Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Yeah, and that's hard to live up to.
Yes, it is. And it's not as good as those games. I don't think it is, but it's damn close.
Yeah, it's damn close.
It's damn close.
And I want the game to be, I want the next one to be just like bigger and better. Like I really do. I really wanted to take more Jurassic steps. I don't, like I said, outside the battle system, I don't fucking care about that. I just want like, better animations, stuff like that.
Maybe exploration's better.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be, the thing they need to strive for, to me, is full, true open world. The whole game is the wild area. There is no there is no interstitial routes that are super linear and railroaded.
I think they need to get away from the
that's just got to be gone.
Yeah, I think they need to get away from the formula of the older games. I think they really need to evolve like their whole, I don't want to call it the gameplay loop, but the story loop. Like they really just need to evolve that.
Yeah.
Like just get out there and just make yourself the Pokemon world. You create your own story. You got these gym leaders. And you got these.
You can do them out of order.
Yeah.
You don't have to do them in a specific order. Just make them scale to your Pokemon's level.
Yeah, because this game is perfect for that.
Right. There's no reason to have it be linear in that sense.
Yeah, because I really like the wild area. I really like how dangerous it is out there.
It's awesome, dude. There's another thing, though, with this game is like, dude, there's too many Pokemon to catch. It's like crazy. This is so different from every other Pokemon game where they like really limit you early game to what Pokemon you can get.
You can get a lot of them early.
This game's crazy. You can get shit. You can get Ice Pokemon, Dark Pokemon, Psychic Pokemon, any type of Pokemon you want. There's tons of them. They don't stop coming either. It's like I already have 40 of them.
I love that about the game. But I also love how, since the national dex is limited, I don't feel overwhelmed, even though it's like 500 of them.
That's true. That's true.
I don't feel overwhelmed because I'm not that type of person that wants to catch every Pokemon, but I do want to catch a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel overwhelmed for some reason. Even though there's 500 Pokemon in this map, in this game, I just don't feel overwhelmed to like where there's 1,000 now.
Right.
Like it's really, I can play this game at my own pace, and I like that. Like I can just pick up and play the game, or I can like try to apply. Sometimes I'm playing it. I play it for like 4 or 5 hours straight, and then sometimes I just play it for like an hour or two.
Yeah,
and that's perfectly fine for me. It doesn't try. I do like that it doesn't try to be anything but Pokemon.
Yeah,
I just want it to be more Pokemon, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So I do understand why the scores are so high.
What are they at? I haven't really looked.
Yeah, they're at like 9 and 8s and 9s and stuff like that.
Okay, because I'm sitting at about an 8.
Yeah, I'm at like an 8 as well.
And I think this is the thing I want people to take away from our discussion about the game's formula, is that this formula for me can't get higher than an 8 where it is right now.
Yeah.
I think its peak is a 9. Like I don't think they'll ever make a 10 for me with this formula.
If they can, this is what I want. I want a game that's exactly like, a little bit of this, put the wild area in there, put the designs of the Pokemon that we have, the level of designs in these Pokemon. I can't be more like excited or like more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I love them. The designs of these new Pokemon are fucking awesome.
Yep.
They fit the world.
They're really good.
Yeah, and I love it. I just even the older Pokemon I saw, I just like, man, these fit this fucking world, man, and I love it.
So there's one I want to call out. I don't know why they put this Pokemon in here. They put fucking Trubbish in the game.
Oh,
and Garbodor.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that either.
You wasted 2 slots of your time, of animation time, on Trubbish and Garbodor. Does anybody like these Pokemon?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people do.
Oh my god. Get them out of here. I hate them.
So yeah, like the designs of the Pokemon that we have, and then the story. Actually, I like the story a lot. I just want the story to be more expressive.
I think this region, though, is carrying this game more than
it
otherwise would. Like, if this was a region I hated, this game would be a 6.
Yeah,
like
this was like X and Y's region.
Yeah,
I would fucking hate this game.
Right, it would be way worse. So the region is a big reason why this game is fun.
Yes,
because it's so cool. It's just such a cool place.
And if it had the animation quality of Pokemon Stadium, also when I'm playing a Pokemon game, the Pokemon gym battles. The fucking music is fucking. Oh, that's another thing. The music is fucking awesome in this game. Yeah. I love the music, especially the gym battle music, because you can hear the crowd hum the music and cheer the music.
That's awesome.
On beat.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
The only thing that's missing is an announcer. So I want them to have an announcer. Like, give me that Pokemon Stadium announcer.
They need to do that. 2 more things I want to mention. One is max raid battles. Have you done any of these?
Yes.
They're really cool.
Yeah, I thought like they were gonna be corny, but they're really.
I like them a lot though. Yeah. You get good. You get like loot for fighting them.
Yeah, exactly.
You get like EXP candies, and I'm sure later in the game you might even get like stat candies or something.
I already got rare candies from it.
Yeah, I've gotten rare candies too, but you might get stat candies though that like increase stats or IVs. That would be fucking awesome, or EVs rather.
And I do like how limited the Dynamaxing is when I do fight gym battles.
Yes. You can really only do it once.
Exactly. I actually like that.
It's like strategic.
Yeah, I like that because in X and Y, this is the only game I really played the Mega forms. Even you can do it Alpha Fire, Alpha Silver, Alpha Ruby and Sapphire. You can do it there, but it was like any time you can do it, and it just didn't feel.
Well, also it was only a limited certain number of Pokemon
exactly,
that could do it too.
Exactly.
So it was like OP. Those Pokemon were broken as shit in those games.
Exactly.
Whereas the rest were just whatever. Anybody can do it in this game.
Exactly.
So.
The gym leaders really use it strategically. You have to use it strategically as well. I just think it's really cool.
There's also a Dynamax level that every Pokemon has.
I didn't know that.
They get better at Dynamaxing as you level them.
I didn't know that.
You have to put there's candies that level it when you do max raid battles. You'll get them.
Okay.
I think they're just called Dynamax candies or something like that.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Gigamax.
Yeah. They don't. Do they call it Dynamax in the game?
It's called Dynamax. The button says Dynamax.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't change that. Okay. Because I thought you had mentioned that they were changing it.
They do call it Gigamax. Like on tweets and some of the things, but in the game it's still called Dynamax.
Okay. But your Pokemon have levels. If you go into your Pokemon and you look at their stats, go to their stat summary, underneath their primary stats, there's a bar with like little tick marks, and there's like, I don't know, 15 levels or something like that.
Okay.
And your Pokemon gets better at Dynamaxing with every level. So they have more hit points, their stats get higher when they're Dynamaxed.
And their moves power up too. Their moves change.
Yes.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so that is an interesting thing as well. So it's not as stupid as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't mind it as much, and the max raid battles is a big reason why. Like, I like the idea of fighting one Pokemon with 4 people.
Yeah,
you're all fighting together, and it makes those like team moves really cool and useful for once, where they never usually are. So I really like that element to it, and you can get really rare Pokemon in the max raid battles as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like for me, I can get Lapras in my version of the game. That's one of the exclusives for Sword Shield, but I can share it as like a internet battle with other people.
That's cool.
So you can get those Pokemon if you do the online battles, like join them.
So all in all, I'm really glad we took a shot at this game.
Me too.
I know we were critical of it,
yep.
But that's only because we love. Obviously, you can tell we love the fucking franchise.
I love Pokemon.
Yeah,
man. I want it to be as good as it can be. That's
exactly,
the problem.
Exactly. And I think a lot of other people have the same thing at heart.
Yeah.
They
it's
just
it's
don't
just
know how to
getting nasty.
Yeah,
it's
they
getting
just
nasty online.
Unfortunately, they don't know how to express
Right.
it in a more constructive
Right.
way.
Anybody saying this is a bad game, they haven't played the game.
Yeah,
sorry, you haven't played
really
the game.
Good Pokemon game.
This game is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. This is a very good video game.
I can understand though if you taking a break from the franchise and you come back expecting things to kind of evolve.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is not the game for you.
That's true.
This game has stayed stagnant in those aspects that we mentioned, but it doesn't take away from the overall experience. It's just that if you're like us, you can see the potential in the game too. But I'm just asking you, don't let. Well, it's a lot for me to ask, but don't let that stifle your enjoyment of the game.
I think if you've liked Pokemon at any point in your life, play this game.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be the best one you've played in a long time.
Exactly.
That's what I want to say. Last thing I want to mention, this was really cool earlier today. I was on Route 4 on the way to the first gym, and I ran into a wild Eevee.
What?
You've never been able to catch Eevee in the wild in any of the games ever. And I ran into one.
That's probably like only a 2 or 3% chance.
So for my version of the game, it's 5%. I think it's only only in that area, Route 4. For your game, it's 1% on Route 4. Oh my
God.
So, bro, I'm gonna be going crazy over the next couple days. I'm gonna get as many Eevees as I can because I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna get all the evolutions because I love Eevee. It's like my favorite Pokemon.
Okay.
Straight up, like I love the Eeveelutions. I've never used most of them, so I want to use like Glaceon.
Okay.
I kind of want to make the fairy one as well, or evolve the fairy one. And the fact that you can catch one now, I love it. I love how unrestrictive some of this stuff feels. I feel like we're almost getting to the point that you might be able to catch the starters in the wild at some point.
Yeah.
Like the other starters. And that would be a huge step for Pokemon that I think they've never taken. And
I feel like they want to just do this game as much as limited as it may seem. I feel like they just want to do so much more, and they kind of baby fed us like, hey, do you guys like this?
Dude, you don't know how excited I was when I saw the Eevee running at me and I got into a battle with it. I was like, is this an Eevee? Can I catch this thing? What? Like, it's never been possible. That's a Pokemon that they've always restricted to like once a game playthrough for the most part. Like you usually only get one or maybe two.
Yeah.
And you have to breed them to get them otherwise. It's like, and it's like the fact that you can just catch that though. That's so cool to me. It's such a change. Like that sounds like a really minor thing, but this is that to me is what you just said makes what you just said so true. It sounds like they like that makes me feel like they really want to do some different stuff. There's no reason to be so restrictive. There's so many Pokemon. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's like just go crazy. Let us catch all of them. So I don't know. I'm liking the game a lot. I'm gonna keep playing it. We'll have more thoughts on it, I think, as we get deeper into it. Obviously.
Yeah.
But good game so far. I would recommend it to any of you who are Pokemon fans.
I definitely see the hype now, guys.
I do.
Definitely see the hype.
I do. I don't think saying it's as good as Heart Gold Soul Silver is really fair. That game has so many little mechanics and little things in it that this game doesn't have. Like, dude, I was just thinking about this when I was playing earlier. Like, you remember how in Gold and Silver you can talk to a trainer you've beaten and get their phone number?
Yeah.
And they would call you at certain points in the game and be like, hey, I want a rematch. Yeah. And you go back and they'd have more Pokemon. They'd have higher level Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of stuff. That little stuff made the game feel so alive.
And that's what I thought they were going to do with this game, but they unfortunately I haven't encountered that yet.
I haven't either. I've been talking to everybody. So,
yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I want to see back in the game,
Yes, yeah.
One other note with Pokemon, this game is a huge success. It sold 6 million in its first 2 days worldwide, which is bonkers. It's completely insane. This game is easily going to become the best-selling game on Switch, like not even close.
Yeah.
Because the best-selling game on Switch is Pokemon Let's Go from last year, which sold like 11.4 million or something like that.
Oh, really?
In its lifespan. And this game's already halfway there in 2 days. Like, there's very little question to me that this game is going to outsell that. So, people still love Pokemon. Like you said earlier, I do hope that they don't take out of that they don't need to try harder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think with this game, actually it shows them it actually proved their point to us and me and you, where we were like, man, they just need to change, just do a change, because not only the game but the way people reacted to the game.
Yep.
I can only imagine if they did a drastic change to the game, how people will react to it.
Yep.
So I think slow and steady, still the pace, even though it's been over 20 years. I feel like they're in the place now where they're able to make those changes they want to make. They have the hardware, they have the technology to do it now.
Yep.
And I feel like next game it'll be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hopefully the something that we touched on, they will improve upon, and it's something they're already doing, they'll make that even better, or just keep it in the game. You know?
Also, put the other starters in the damn game next time.
Yeah, don't be restricted to that.
Yeah, don't, come on.
If you want to make it a special event, like they show up on the map every once in a while.
You didn't have to put every single one in, but at least more than one.
Yeah.
Okay? Yep. You've got 21 of them?
Yep. And I'm a gym runner, so
right.
I love Gym 1, but yeah, I would love to have maybe a Cyndaquil.
Like a Blaziken, or Cyndaquil or Totodile.
Totodile.
Any of those.
Yeah.
Would have been cool.
What's fucking Greninja's first evolution? I don't remember his first evolution name, but...
Or the Gen 4 ones, dude. Chimchar, and I forget the other two.
Yeah.
Those Gen 4 starters are really good, too. So, all right. That's enough talk about Pokemon. Let's move on to our first story. So we talked about Valve announcing Half-Life Alyx last week. And I think we need to revisit this discussion briefly, because the reaction to this has been completely counter to what was happening last week once the actual trailer came out for this. I haven't watched the trailer, but people, generally speaking, are extremely excited about this game all of a sudden.
It actually looks like a very good story is involved in the game.
Yes. And so I just want to revisit it really to kind of put that out there, because I think we made it sound like this was a joke last week.
Yeah.
And at the time it kind of was, but once the trailer came out, they kind of changed the narrative a little bit. But I do want to say the fact that this is a VR game means you're going to need a VR headset and a computer that can play a VR game.
And I did read a report that said maybe I think over 60% of Steam users are not VR ready.
Nope.
So I wonder how they're gonna
exactly, and the cost to get in to even have, and you're gonna be spending $1,500 just to have a computer that can play a VR game, and then buying the headset itself too, and then the game obviously.
Exactly.
So
yep.
This is gonna be a huge barrier of entry for this. As much as people are excited about it, hopefully it's good. I don't know. Maybe Half-Life is coming back. I don't know. Maybe this is their attempt to try and revive it, but. It feels weird. It feels like a weird way for them to do it, though. This is just so Valve, This is such a Valve way to do things.
Valve has so much money, they don't care.
I know. I know.
They don't care.
I know. But I did want to bring that up because, we were pretty negative about it last week. So, all right, let's move on to the next story.
Hold on. See, we can change our opinions. We're flexible people.
Right. Hey, man, I'm very critical. I know that comes off as probably hyper negative sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm very hyperbolic. I understand that. But,
we're still open-minded, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I try to be open-minded, though.
Yeah.
Right. Like that whole Pokemon discussion, I hope you guys understand. This has been a weird year. There's been a lot of bad games this year. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You've heard a lot of negativity out of this podcast. That's because the games deserve it. Okay? That when the games are really good, and we're going to get a lot of good ones next year, you're going to be thinking we're shills. Because, bro, trust me, when Neo 2 comes out, and I'm playing that game, and that game is amazing, and I'm telling you right now it's going to be amazing, you're going to be calling me a fanboy. You might as well just call me one now, because
I already called you a fanboy.
I already think that game's going to be amazing. It's not even out yet. It is what it is. And Cyberpunk, that game's probably going to be amazing too. So just hold your horses. If you think we're super negative, we can be positive. So, all right, moving on. First story. This will be a brief one, but just kind of a sad note. Gearbox has announced that they are going to be shutting down Battleborn in early 2021. And with that, there will be no more. You will not be able to buy the microtransactions in the game starting on February 24th, 2020. So for a full calendar year, you will not be able to buy microtransactions in this game anymore. And the game will no longer be playable after January 2021.
Oh, I thought the game was already shut down. I thought it got shut down last year.
Man.
I thought we read a story that said it got shut down last year.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay. Well,
but I don't know. It's just a sad note. I mean, it's a everybody knew this was coming at some point. It's just a sad game that was poorly marketed, and they didn't. Randy Pitchford did this game no favors, trying as hard as he could to not call it a MOBA, even though it is a MOBA.
It is a MOBA.
And he really pigeonholed it into a competition with Overwatch that they were never going to win.
Yep.
And it ended up killing this game because, from all intents and purposes, everything I saw, this game was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it looked really good.
All the gameplay I saw of it looked really fun and cool.
Yeah.
They had a cool idea on their hands here, but they just executed it poorly.
Hey, man, I think this suffered the same fate as I was going to say Pentagon, but Paragon.
Paragon, yeah.
Yeah, Paragon was a really cool game, so.
Yeah, so sad story. All right, moving on. This is another brief note here. So the Beat Saber developers, called Beat Games, they have been fully acquired by Facebook, and they are now part of Oculus Studios. So this is actually a big deal.
Yeah, Facebook's been making some moves. They just actually acquired. They took someone from Twitch, another popular streamer from Twitch. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he was getting like maybe 20,000, 30,000 viewers. Concurrence.
Yeah.
And they took him, and now he's streaming exclusively on Facebook Gaming.
Well, so these guys, Beat Saber is one of the most popular VR games out there, like, period. It's one of the most successful ones, and it's one of the ones I've heard the most positive buzz around. This is a big acquisition for them in the sense that these games are not going to be on PS4 anymore with PlayStation VR. I would assume they're not going to release it on there anymore, so it's kind of a weird acquisition, but I guess if they want to really dominate the VR space, it makes sense.
Maybe there's a future. I just honestly I still don't see the future in VR.
This is the same week that Microsoft comes out and says nobody cares about VR. Like, we're not going to make games no one's asking for or something like that. And
pretty much.
They were talking about, so.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like only a certain limited number of people are looking for VR, and that's not me. Like, it's not me. I don't really know.
I think it's an enthusiast thing right now.
It is, and I think as the tech becomes more cheaper, then it'll become more mainstream. But besides that, not right now. No, it's like the smartphones, right?
I think it just needs to stick around long enough for the technology to get cool enough where you can do really interesting, innovative things with it.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the cell phones. Remember when smartphones first came out, a lot of people weren't switching over. A lot of people still had the flip phones and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And then Android and iOS blew up as far as like what they can do and the range of stuff that they can do. Then everyone was like, okay, I need to get me an iPhone or an Android phone.
Right. I mean, dude, imagine a world where you're playing some first person, like, let's just say Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
Or some Elder Scrolls game in the future where you are literally running around, like physically running around.
And you fall through the map because it's Bethesda game.
No, let me finish my point. Let me paint this beautiful picture for everybody. You're running around physically, like you have like some sort of treadmill or something like that you're running on in real life to simulate you running around, and then you are actually carrying your sword and shield, and you have to swing it and be like precise and accurate, and you block with your shield, and like it's cool. It's really you playing the game with your body. That's the kind of VR I want to get to. That's so far away, but this has to stick around for us to get there.
Yeah.
If this fails, we're never going to get there.
I agree.
So whatever they need to do to keep this thing alive, to keep VR alive, I'm on board with. I want to get to that future because that is where gaming changes and evolves in a way that we just can't see. Imagine playing like a soccer game or a football, or playing Madden. Yeah, playing Madden, dude, and you're literally throwing the ball. You know?
Yeah,
you're the quarterback literally throwing the ball, and you're looking around, and you've got linemen around you, and you got pass rushers coming around your back and stuff, and it's like you're really playing a football game, like actual football.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's just, it changes everything if we get to that point. So that's where I want to get. And as I said, anything that keeps this alive for us to get there, I'm on board with. So.
Well, I'm negative about it. I don't think we're going to get there.
Yeah, you're part of the problem, bro. We're never going to get there because of people like you.
Yep.
Shut your mouth. I want that future. All right. Next story. This is another note. We didn't mention this last week. I hadn't heard about it until we recorded. The legendary game designer Brad McQuaid, who is the driving force behind the MMOs EverQuest and Vanguard, passed away last week at age 51. He had created his own studio called Visionary Realms, who are making the MMO Pantheon currently. They're continuing to make that game, but he passed away suddenly. I've not seen any details of what actually happened, what he was dealing with that caused him to pass away. But this is just a sad note that I wanted to bring up because without this guy, I don't think the MMO genre would really exist the way it does or the way it did in the 2000s and even now. World of Warcraft certainly would not exist in the way it did without this guy. Like, EverQuest is one of the most important games in multiplayer gaming probably to ever come out. It changed the game in a way that was just so huge. And I'm really looking forward to Pantheon. This game looks really cool. It's just unfortunate that these guys are going to have to finish that game now without their kind of leader, the guy.
I hope it still has the same, driving force and
it does. They've mentioned that his vision is still their core design tenets. Also, thoughts to his family. I mean, this sucks. 51 is so young to pass away, man.
I'm assuming it was something very, very unexpected.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, unfortunate, but hopefully these guys will be able to still make a great game. All right, moving on. So there's been some rumors going around, and they're starting to sound pretty real. Resident Evil 3 remake.
Hey, man, I wanted this. As soon as I saw Mr. X, man, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So this has been kind of going around, but it's starting to sound like this is real, and we should be.
I think I heard someone put in the rumors that Capcom's hiring right now for that.
Yep. Yeah, there was a report. I think there was a report that said that they're hiring for this game, and it supposedly is going to be coming out in 2020.
I don't believe that, but
hey, man, I mean, you never know.
That's a high turnaround rate. Holy shit. Yeah.
But I never played Resident Evil 3. I've never really played any of the Resident Evils, but 3 is a weird one. 3 is the one that no one ever talks about. How is that game?
3 is weird because you're getting chased the entire game.
Really?
Nemesis, yes. So
that ugly ass.
So yeah, Mr. X isn't Nemesis, but they took the premise from 2, like the second half of 2. Second half of 2, Mr. X comes at you, and he's chasing you the entire game.
Yeah.
3, you're in the same city, but you're on the other side of the city. I think you come in like right after Leon and the two main characters from.
Oh, so you're a different person?
Yeah, you're Jill from the first game.
Oh. Jeez.
So.
Okay.
So you come into the city right after all that shit has happened, I believe.
I'm just gonna wait till they remake all these games and just play them back to back. Dude.
One is already remade like 5 times. They're not remaking that game.
I know.
But you can play on any platform right now, and I still think that's a quality Resident Evil experience with tank controls, but it's still a quality Resident Evil experience as far as horror factors. Like you're really scared and stuff like that. It's just a creepy vibe. And 2 does the same thing, but obviously with the updated controls and things of that nature. And 3, if they're doing the same thing they did with 2, you're getting chased around the entire time. And that's what makes that game really stressful and high tense. Besides the puzzles they give you and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Not only do you got to deal with the zombies, but from the very first moment the game starts, you're getting chased by Nemesis. And there are some points where you got to fight him to get out of certain situations.
So is he that like ugly looking dude who's like bald but has like this like
eye patch thing?
Yeah.
His like teeth are showing and stuff like that. Yeah, man, he's freaking lucky.
I guess I don't want to know what he is. I guess that would be story spoilers.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, dude, he's gnarly, man.
Yeah,
like, he looks terrifying.
Yep.
So when does Resident Evil 4 take place then?
Resident Evil 4 takes place after all that. Like a couple of years after all that happened.
Okay, in a different place entirely.
It's in the same universe. But Leon has to fly to Spain because he found out that there's some kind of secret. They kidnapped the president's daughter. He's a part of the secret agents. He upgraded due to his events of Raccoon City.
Yeah,
he got fast tracked and he's
promoted.
now working for the president of the United States. And the president of the United States' daughter gets kidnapped, and they're doing some kind of experimental thing, so he has to go get her. And that's where Resident Evil 4 takes place. And then, yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I mean, they did such a good job with 2. It looks like that. I mean, this could be really cool. So
yeah, I hope they.
You think 4 will get the same treatment eventually?
I don't think they should remake 4.
Really?
4, because 4 has been. Bro, 4 has been put on every platform, literally from cell phone.
Yeah, but even if they modernized it,
it's already Resident Evil's using the current thing that 4 modernized.
I know, but like more precise controls, looks better,
maybe a little bit more creepier.
Right.
Yeah, I want them to remake 5 instead of 4. Just give me
5.
Yeah, completely change 5 to what your vision was, because the earlier visions for 5 was really cool.
Okay.
And then they changed it for some reason. I don't know why they changed it, but they changed it.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I think they should just keep the horror factor. Hell, I even like to see more of Resident Evil 7's kind of style, that first-person horror style.
Yeah.
They contained it to a single house. I think that was really cool.
It is called Resident Evil. So I always like that it like takes place in like a house or a mansion.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. All right, moving on. So we haven't played Monster Hunter World Iceborne in a while, but Capcom has announced a new monster.
These
coming to the
mofos
game.
just don't stop, man.
So, okay. So I just saw this today, and I was very surprised about it. On December 5th, they are going to be releasing Stygian Zynogur, which is going to be a variant of Zynogur that is like gray and red. And I think it's a dragon element
it looks
version.
Like dragon element.
Yeah, it's like a dragon element version of Zynogur. Also has some new moves and stuff. I'm assuming new weapons, new armor is going to come along with this. But they're also adding a tundra, like an icy tundra part of the guiding lands along with this. Yeah, this is coming on December 5th. These motherfuckers are crazy. Where do they get this? Like, how do they develop this shit so fast? Like, this is crazy. They're going to pull in all of the new Iceborne monsters into the guiding lands because none of them are really in there because obviously the ice area isn't a part of the guiding lands. So it's like, man, dude, this game is awesome. And that's not all, everybody.
Oh, shit. What?
There's going to be a Chinese New Year event happening in January. And there's going to be another new... This isn't the new monster for December.
Oh, is it?
This is just a cherry on top, like an extra, because they announced on Twitter, that second link I put under the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is their official Twitter showing what appears to be a black-looking dragon.
Is that the Fatalist?
Okay, so that was my first thought as well. But some people have shown some screenshots of what Fatalist actually looks like, and his neck is way longer than this dragon's.
Yeah, so this may look like a whole new, I'm about to say whole new Pokemon.
This could be a new monster, dude. Like, no, this could be a new monster, though, which I didn't expect that from them. Like, a brand new Elder Dragon? I don't know, because, dude, there's no monster that I can think of that looks like this monster. People have been saying that Xeno'jiiva kind of looks like this thing, and it does when you do a close-up of its face.
Oh, maybe evolved finally.
Right, like it's an evolved form of it. Because, the Xeno'jiiva we fought was like
a baby infant
like a
form.
Baby form.
Yeah.
This thing doesn't look anywhere near as big, though, as Xeno'jiiva. So, I don't know. I don't know, but we're going to find out more, I assume, later in December. And, man, I'm excited to get back into this game because, dude, this is awesome. Like, this thing looks so cool, this dragon. Like, I love Monster Hunter.
Yeah. I was just thinking, man, what if they did like a Dark Souls fucking tie-in or like crossover?
Well, that's what people are saying. It looks like a Dark Souls monster.
It does look like a Dark Souls monster.
Which they've done tie-ins before with The Witcher and Final Fantasy, so maybe that's possible.
Man, that's crazy.
I mean, man, God. Hey, man, we got to get back to this game at some point. I know we're both off of it right now, but...
Yeah.
Just gets me excited.
Woo.
I mean, that thing looks dope, doesn't it? Everybody, go to the Monster Hunter official Twitter.
I can't wait to be pissed about this monster.
And just find this black dragon. Like, this is such a cool screenshot. Like,
man, it is really cool. These guys don't stop. They really love this game. The
really
team really loves this game.
They do. It's a passion project, man. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
Like, they put so much in this game. It's just crazy. I mean, when they're done, this game is going to be the best Monster Hunter, period.
Yeah, and this game's been going since 2004. So, it's not like... I feel like now that they have the tech that's available to them, they always wanted to do more, but they were, like, limited, right?
So, These guys are doing with Monster Hunter what we want Pokemon to do. Let's tie it back into Pokemon because they legitimately have evolved the franchise with every single installment.
Yeah.
Yes, they've added new monsters, they've created new areas, they've added new gear and new abilities, but they always change the gameplay in some way.
Yep.
They add new gameplay elements. They also change the progression in some way. They've always done that.
Yep.
Always. And it's culminated in Monster Hunter World, and it's culminated in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, actually.
Yeah, it paid off.
And, dude, the next game, Monster Hunter World 2, is going to be just bonkers.
Yeah, like this team has the only gripe we have with this team, or not the gripe, the only miss they had was when they added the swimming mechanic. But then they learned their lesson from that, and then
they learned quickly.
Yeah,
we've never seen it again.
Yeah, exactly.
We probably never will until they can get it right.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah, hats off. Hats off. These guys. Yeah. This is how you make an IP big.
Exactly, and I think Pokemon can have the same relevancy.
Yeah.
As far it does.
Well,
actually.
Pokemon's bigger than Monster.
Yeah, Pokemon's obviously, but as far as gameplay and progression, as far as gameplay and things of that nature, I even say Zelda did the same thing. Like they took notches from each game, and then they had the technology to where they wanted to make the game they wanted to make. So I feel like Pokemon's getting there.
It is. It will. Hopefully. But Monster Hunter, God, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm coming back.
Every monster they release, I am going to be disappointed if they don't add Valstrax. I really am.
I don't think they're going to add it. I think they're going to add it next game.
I need it in my life with this game.
But he has a reason to come to the new world now.
Add Gormagala then, please. Just give me Gormagala, please.
Maybe this is Gormagala.
This can't be Gormagala.
Nah,
this doesn't look like him at all.
I know.
Gormagala has a very smooth face. Yeah. It almost looks like an alien.
He has four wings too, right?
Yeah, he has 4 wings. He has and they're draped too.
Yeah.
It's not like these. These are up in the air. And kind of angular. Gormagalas are very paper-like almost.
Yeah.
Where they kind of morph to whatever they're touching. So,
I don't know. That dragon looks familiar though, or that monster.
It does.
I just don't know where it's from.
It really does look like Fatalist with a shorter neck.
Yeah. Maybe they just redesigned it, but I don't know.
They might have. Maybe they did redesign it. Maybe they were forced to use a different skeleton. They just didn't want to use the.
And look, the Fatalist can use the Valkana skeleton, in my opinion.
Yeah, that does have a shorter neck, and that's what this monster kind of looks like. Is a Fatalist version of a Valkana.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to our final story, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has sold quite a bit. It is EA's most successful Star Wars game, and it is the fastest-selling digital Star Wars game that has ever come out, which basically...
Really? That's interesting.
They haven't given exact numbers for it. They haven't said exact sales numbers, but it sounds to me like they're very happy with it.
It beat Battlefront?
I guess so.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it seems like a very. I mean, dude, it's.
You know what, man? I'm gonna give Respawn their props, man. This team deserved it. They released. They released Titanfall 1. They released Titanfall 2, which are both really fucking good games. And if you haven't played Titanfall 2, it's free now for PlayStation Gold members.
Yeah. Right
now. So, or in December, I think. So December 1st is gonna be free for people. And I think you guys should play it if you haven't played it. It's a really, really good first-person shooter, multiplayer-wise and story-wise for single player. It's really good. So
yeah. I think this basically guarantees we're getting a sequel.
Oh yeah. They would be stupid not to cash in on this.
Yeah, dude. Of course it would. It wouldn't make any sense. The only way
they would not cash in on this is some higher up is like, oh, you need multiplayer. It will sell even more.
Yeah.
No, that. This is a quality. Well, yeah, this is a quality single player experience. I'm glad we got it, even though we were kind of harsh on it last week. I still gave it an 8, and I stand by that 8.
I stand by my 7, but that's not a bad score.
Yeah, it's not a bad score at all.
So. Yeah, no, as I said, we said this last week, hats off to these guys. I think they deserve another shot.
I think the next game will be way better. Like it's gonna be we're gonna play the second one and look back at this first one and just be like, God, dude, how did we ever think that was a good game? That's how much better it's gonna be.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
gonna blow this game out of the water. Like it's not even gonna be close.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's kind of my expectations for it. I really hope though they get a little bit more ambitious with the story and with Cal and some of the other characters. And if they do use more characters from Star Wars lore, they use them a little bit better than they did in this first game.
I think they were really playing it safe, and they had to do it just to prove to Disney like people want this stuff.
Yeah.
And EA, and I think it proves it.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I think this shows the industry as a whole that people still love single player games. If From Software didn't show you that, because people might argue like that's not a single player game, it's a multiplayer game with this aspects of PvP. But you got Jedi Fallen Order, God of War. I mean, this generation, the last half of this generation showed that people want these. Even Control sold really well, which I didn't play.
Yeah.
But a lot of people said this game's really good. So I'm going to give it a shot, probably on Black Friday if it's on sale. And then you got Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is another single-player game. Oh, and Death Stranding. So a lot of good games have came out. And I feel like the industry next go-around. Oh, and Obsidian's game that just came out.
Outer Worlds.
So yeah, I feel like next generation we're going to get a mix of multiplayer and single player games because they see that single player games
they're both viable.
Yeah, exactly. Like there is a market and there is a group of people that will buy this game no matter what.
Yeah. Just to clarify one thing I said earlier, it's not the fastest selling Star Wars game. It is the fastest selling digital title in its first 2 weeks for a Star Wars game.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, it hasn't sold more than Battlefront. That does seem unlikely, but
man, what if it did though? Holy shit!
I mean, it's weird that they haven't announced real numbers because I'm imagining it's probably not in the 8 million range that I was thinking it would get to. Because if it was, I feel like they would say that. But I guess they're waiting. They probably want to wait until their earnings call to release those numbers. So we'll find out. But this indicates to me that the game is well on its way to that if it isn't already there.
Okay.
So we'll see. All right, let's move on to new game releases for the week. And there is not much. Man, it is Thanksgiving week. And yeah, most companies probably aren't releasing games this week. This is a really bad week to release games. There's a new Gundam game coming out. But, this is definitely not a week to release games because people are going to be buying Black Friday stuff.
Well, if you guys are buying Black Friday stuff and stuff like that, if you're into RPGs, I did look at like a list of the last decade's RPGs. It's probably available. It's probably going to be on sale for the stores, especially Xbox and Steam stores. Got the top 10 RPGs of Western RPGs of last generation, and a lot of them Legends of Grimrock, which is on iOS actually.
Ooh. I remember that game.
Yeah. So iOS.
That was one of those old school dungeon crawlers.
Yep.
Yeah.
94 guys. So
first person, and it's like squares.
Yeah.
You walk in like a grid basically.
Yeah.
And you fight monsters in front of you. And
you got Bastion, which is also on iOS. That got a Metacritic score of 94. The number one they put on this list is Mass Effect 2, which got 96. You guys can buy that on Steam. Things of that nature. It's a lot of good games on here. I'll probably post this link on my fucking Twitter, and you can look at it. It's pretty cool. You have any Black Friday suggestions people should get out there?
Buy Spider-Man for $15.
Oh yeah, I was about to buy it, and then the dude was like, "Don't buy it now. Wait till next week."
Yeah, because you haven't played it yet, right?
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, buy it with the DLC. Oh my god. No, you need to play that game. All the Best Buy stuff, the $10 like God of War, PS4 exclusives they have.
Played any of those?
Holy crap! Like God of War for $10. That is bonkers.
That's a quality.
Bonkers.
You're gonna feel like you gotta steal out that game.
Oh my
you're gonna feel
god! Yeah,
I bought
stole
the game
from Sony.
Yeah, I bought the game for $20 when it was on sale on the market, and I felt like I should have paid $60 for this game.
This is look. God of War is the best game that's come out this generation.
Yeah.
Period. The end. End of discussion. We're going to talk about games of the generation at some point closer to PS5's launch, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that now. This may change between now and then, but right now, God of War is the best game I've played. So yeah, I'd recommend that for sure. And if you are curious, we went through a full Black Friday primer last week, so if you hadn't listened to that, check that out. It was at the very tail end of the episode, the last 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So check that out if you need any suggestions. Actually, what am I saying this? But we're posting on Black Friday, bro. It's over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all right.
Man,
that's
we're
right.
idiots.
Yeah, we're stupid.
It was a waste of 5 minutes of discussion.
Well, I hope you guys got what you wanted.
I hope you. Well, the thing is, a lot of these deals will still be in effect probably Friday morning.
Yeah, you're right.
After you hear this,
yep.
so
yep.
I think Friday during the day, most
and
of them will
Cyber
still
Monday.
be. Yeah, and Cyber Monday. So I think it's still relevant if you're listening to this on Friday. So, all right, that's gonna be it for this week, guys. If you like this episode, please like the episode, review the episode, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. We would really appreciate that. We're trying to grow the audience now that we got the audio quality down, baby.
Yeah.
The show's sounding good and crisp. We're ready for the world to listen to it and tear us apart. If you'd like to talk to either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage from Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNet01. The show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at The Player's Take, as I just said, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. You're going to hear this after Thanksgiving, but we hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with family. Don't be a jerk. Don't talk about politics.
Oh, yeah. Stay away from that.
Stay away from that. Just enjoy your family's company and have a good time. Watch some football, eat some turkey, get fat, then go Black Friday shopping. For those of us who are poor and need to do it because it's the only way we can afford things.
Exactly.
Go do it. Don't let anyone guilt you into being a commercial motherfucker.
Exactly.
Because it is what it is. Not everybody has money.
Exactly.
So, as I said, hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you guys next week. All right? Bye, guys.